Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the CFE podcast. I am your host, Preston, and joined by my co host, Beck. And today we're going to be going through a few bowl games, give them our picks and reasons for why, and then we're going to go through our playoff picks as well. So I'm excited to hop into this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump fully into the bowl season and embrace it with open arms.
Absolutely. I mean, we're in playoff week right now, which is pretty cool. But
Definitely. It's crazy that it's come up so fast, it feels like after the regular season. But we are here already
no,
and
absolutely.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. Gonna be a fun weekend.
Yes, it will. So we got a couple of bowl games, just kind of picked ones that most exciting ones to us. So we'll just hop in the first one. Illinois versus South Carolina. I first saw the bowl picks at the bowl games that were going to be played. This one immediately popped off the page to me. Um, I took uh, South Carolina to win this one, I believe. And here would be my reason why is because Lenora Sellers is a very dangerous man. Uh, it's going to be hard to stop Lenora Sellers, and South Carolina definitely hit their footing at the right point of the season to get hot towards the end of it.
I would agree with that. I think if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd definitely be betting Illinois to cover the spread. Because I think this game's gonna be a lot closer than people think it's gonna be. But I do think Lenore Sellers goes out and wins this at the end of the game. So whether or not people actually watch the game because they're expecting a blowout or not will be interesting. But I think it'll
Yeah,
be I think it'll be a good game. I think Illinois will be leading at points in this game, but I do think South Carolina comes out with the win.
yeah, yeah. I think Luke Altmaier will have a good game. And he just announced that he's coming back to Illinois next year, which is good news for the Illini. So I'm excited for them that they get Altmaier back, which is awesome. But super excited for this game. I think this will be a really fun game to watch.
Definitely.
Um, USC versus A&M. Um, Beck, you want to share your thoughts on this game first?
Yeah, I think this will be a very interesting game. Two teams that actually have quarterbacks coming back. A&M finishing their first year with the new OC. Lincoln Riley with the little bits of people wanting him to be fired. Talks that he was going to be bought out to UCF a few weeks ago that people were talking about. I think it'll be a very interesting game. I think A&M has more firepower and a better defense that they'll be able to slow down the USC offense and get the win. But honestly, this might be the game I'm most excited for outside of the obvious that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I am definitely anticipating this game a lot. Big Marcel Reed guy. I think A&M, uh, especially like when they're playing well, like the offense is pretty dangerous. Marcel Reed, definitely a difference maker. The defense, pretty solid. So excited to see what Colin Klein and Elko can cook up for the bowl game. And yeah, I don't know. I think USC is pretty good. Um, I don't know. I just think A&M will be a little too much to handle for them.
Yeah, definitely. So
But uh, yeah, absolutely. Third game, YU versus Colorado. I know we talked a little bit about this last week, but we were just super confused about why this was even a bowl matchup, just because they're in the same conference. But uh, very interested for this one. I'm gonna take Colorado to win, and I think Colorado will win obviously because of their offense. I'm thinking that Shador is probably going to throw all over BYU. BYU is a solid team. I just think Colorado may have a little too much offensive firepower.
Interesting. This is the first one we disagree at. And my reasons why are people don't know this about BYU because no one watched BYU this year, but they are almost yard for yard with Colorado for yards per game. I think they're almost equal. And BYU has a much better defense and has an actual run game, whereas Colorado's run game is still non existent. So, all that being said,
Yep.
I think BYU can get a few stops in this game. And I think they keep up with Colorado, make some plays, get a few turnovers, and they win this game. A little bit of the Heisman curse returning for Travis Hunter, but I think BYU wins this game.
I think I would like to see BYU win. I just personally don't see them winning the game. So
That's what I thought as well until I looked up how good this BYU offense was, which was better than I was expecting. So
yeah, for sure. Bama, Michigan. I took Bama. I think Michigan's really tough, but I just think Bama's going to want revenge from last year, and Milroe's going to want to beat them pretty badly. So I'm going to take Bama to win this one pretty handedly, I think, too.
I agree that I think Bama's going to win, even though I so badly want to pick Michigan because I think all the signs point to Michigan winning this game. Bama played a really good defense a few weeks back versus Oklahoma. Had nothing, got crushed. Michigan just played a team with probably better offensive firepower than Bama in Ohio State. Completely shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
I so badly I think that Michigan has what it takes, and I think it's going to be close, really close. And I want to pick Michigan, but I can't because I think the revenge factor does play a role, and I think that Bama pulls it off. But I think a lot is looking in Michigan's favor.
For sure. I think, Michigan's defense is really good. I just don't know if I see. I don't know if I see Michigan pulling off two really, really big wins in a row this time. But
I think they're moving in the right direction. They got the 5-star quarterback coming in. They got some other portal guys coming in. They got the momentum right now. Whereas Bama, we'll see if they care or not after missing the playoffs. So
it's true. It's very true. And our final bowl game prediction. Very, very excited about this one. As much as I don't want to pick them, I'm gonna pick Nebraska. I think that Matt Rule is going to have this team fired up to be playing in New York City. I think that Holge is going to have some offensive brilliance in this game, and I think the defense is going to do just enough to squeak out a win against Boston College.
I don't know what you mean by you don't want to pick them, but I agree.
This is why I don't want to pick them because I don't want to get my hopes up that we're going to win this bowl game. So that's of course I want them to win. I don't want to pick them though.
Yeah, I definitely get that. But I do think Nebraska wins, and I think Nebraska is going to win. I think it's a double-digit win because I think we have our entire offense back, except surprisingly today, Dante Dowdell's in the portal, which will hurt. But I think this was going to be a Ramir game anyway, so it's not going to hurt too bad in the bowl game. More hurt next year. I think we have all our weapons on all our receiving weapons, and I think Holgerson and Raiola have been cooking up some fun stuff. I think we score 30 points in the cold. Definitely would have been a lot easier with our power back Dowdell, because with Gabe also in the portal, we don't really have a power back at this point. But
Boy, Quentin Nyes gonna get in the game.
he might him, or you get Mazuka in there maybe at running back. Some of these young guys, we'll see. But honestly, put Carter Nelson back there.
Dude, it's a tie, man.
Honestly,
Let's get tie that touchdown.
just put Harburg at running back, and we're set.
Yeah.
So
No. Yeah. I just can't decide if it's gonna be really low scoring, or if this is the two scenarios in my mind. It's gonna be a really close game, or Nebraska's gonna win by a lot. I can't decide which one I feel more comfortable with.
I agree. I think Nebraska gets 30, and I think Nash and Ty are gonna kill them. I think Ty's gonna cement himself as a top two round draft pick in this game, and Nash is gonna be right there next to him, looking for a fourth or fifth. I think the seniors on defense show out with their new defensive coordinator, and I think Holgerson's ready to cook. So that's what I see in this game. Even though we're missing half our D line, we still got our seniors there.
Yep. Pumped.
Super excited.
Can't wait to watch Nebraska football playing in December for the first time in 8 years.
Never thought this day would come.
I know. But that does it for our bowl game predictions. Now it is on to the playoffs. And Nick, do you like to go to your playoff bracket for the first round?
First. Yep. I'll go in order. So started on this Friday night with the Indiana Derby, as I'm calling it. Get my soccer coming.
Okay.
But Notre Dame and Indiana, I think this game will be really close. It's supposed to snow Friday night, so we might get some flakes up there, which would be perfect. I think Indiana hangs with them this entire game, but Riley Leonard makes a play at the end, and Notre Dame sneaks out a win. I think that Notre Dame run game is just too good. Penn State's SMU to start off Saturday. I think Penn State win this game. I think it's close in the first half, and then I think the run game of Penn State takes over. Hopefully Allor doesn't get hurt, because Penn State's backup quarterback is in the portal, which is dumb that that's even possible, but their backup quarterback's no longer on their roster, so that could be interesting if something like that happens.
Sorry, I don't know. Why would you transfer if you're backup for a playoff team? I don't know. Never mind. We don't need to get into that.
Real quick, my understanding is Allor is coming back. He announced today. So with that, he needed to get in the portal so that he can get on another team, because those spots are filling up fast. So that's why. It's just stupid that the portal's open right now.
Yeah, that's his choice. If the portal wasn't open, then we wouldn't be having these conversations. But
correct.
For him, if he wants to go play somewhere else. But I don't know. I'm just like, on a playoff team,
I know. It's crazy. But second game of Saturday, Texas hosting Clemson. I think the first 1-20 wins this game, and I think it's Texas. I think their defense is just too good for Clemson. I don't think Clemson can score on this Texas defense. They went into College Station and completely shut down a pretty decent Texas A&M offense. So, and this is one of the best defenses in the country. So I think Texas does their job, even though I hope they lose. And then to wrap it up, Ohio State hosting Tennessee. I think Ryan Day is desperate, and I think this is a very similar motivated Ohio State team as it was a few years ago when they almost beat Georgia in the playoffs. I think Ohio State comes out, and I think they handle Tennessee pretty well. I don't think Nico's ready for this Ohio State defense, which is another top five defense. So I think Ohio State handles it more so than most people think.
Okay. Um, for Notre Dame, Indiana, I am going to go with Notre Dame. I also think it'll be a close game, but I do think Notre Dame pulls away at the end with their run game. Um, just not sure if Indiana's defense can handle their run game. Penn State, SMU. Also going to go Penn State. I think their run game is also very good. Their defense is really good. And I just think Penn State is a step up from what Clemson was for SMU. So I think Penn State's just a little too much for them, especially after the performance against Oregon. I didn't quite know that Penn State had that offensive firepower to them. So that was very impressive to see.
Mhm.
Clemson, Texas. I wanted to tell you this last night, but I wanted to save it for the podcast, Beck. I'm going to take Clemson to win this game. I don't know why. Something within me is just saying Clemson's going to win this game. I think Lubnick's a good quarterback. I know Texas's defense is really, really good, but I just see Clemson sneaking away, like right at the end. Like maybe a field goal, maybe a pick six, something like that. I don't know. Texas's offense just hasn't impressed me too much this year. So I don't know why. I think Dabo's going to have them ready, and they want to steal this game from Texas. So, and then Tennessee, Ohio State. I don't know why. I think Tennessee is gonna walk into the shoe and beat Ohio State. Um, their defense is really good. Tennessee's defense is really good. Um, offense can be really good depending on depending on the game. But I do think Tennessee's run game and run defense will be the deciding factors in this game. I just don't know how much I trust Ohio State at the moment to get the job done. And I don't know. I'm honestly thinking Tennessee by 10 plus. But I don't know. I just something about this game just doesn't seem that Ohio State will win. I don't know why. But
Yeah.
and Ohio State's like a touchdown favorite, which is crazy to me. So
I honestly don't think this Tennessee's team's very good. I have not been impressed all year. I think they had an easy schedule. They beat a Bama team that is overrated, and that's their only decent win this year. So I
yeah,
think Ohio State defense carries. I don't and it's not Michigan. So what's the problem?
it's true. It's true. Um, yeah. So we are 2-2 on our picks. Two similar, two different. Um, yeah, I'm excited for the first round. Which game are you most looking forward to?
Um, I think they're all going to be great games. I'm probably most excited for the Indiana Derby. I think there's going to be just enough rivalry between Notre Dame and Indiana. You open it up Friday night. I think it's going to be the closest game. I think the two teams that I'm most excited to watch are Penn State, SMU, but I don't think it's going to be close in the second half. So,
Yeah.
what about you?
Yeah, either Indiana, Notre Dame, or Clemson, Texas. So
If Dabo pulls it off, man, I don't think he'll ever pick up a guy in the
I
portal
don't.
ever a day in his life.
I know, but all right. So quarterfinals now. I know ours are going to be different, but let's just go off who we have picked win from the first round to go on to the second round, and then keep going on from there.
Yeah, let's start with the
So
two
you
we
want to go
agree.
first again?
Yeah, let's start with the two we agree on, and then we can go with the two we disagree on. So, just bottom of the bracket, I got Notre Dame and Georgia playing in the Sugar Bowl. I had all chalk in the first round. That stops now. Notre Dame goes into the Sugar Bowl, runs all over the great Georgia defense, and a Carson Beck less or Carson Beck with Georgia team, we're still not sure, finds a way to lose to the Fighting Irish, who come all the way back from an early loss to a elite MAC team and make it to the semifinals.
Yeah.
And then in the other one, I want to pick Boise State so bad, but I agree with you that Penn State performance versus Oregon. I think their two running backs might have to combine to match Genty, but I don't think Matson can match Eller, and I think Penn State wins that one by double digits. So,
Okay.
what are your thoughts on those two?
Yeah, we're different on the both of them, actually.
Ooh,
I think Georgia is going to win. I think it'll be very, very close. Probably not very high scoring. Like, I'd be surprised if either team gets past 21. I think Georgia will be rested up, ready for the game. Kirby really wants to win this one, and I think Georgia gets the job done. I just think, you know, Notre Dame is definitely a good team. They just haven't been in the spot before with Marcus Freeman. So I am going to pick Georgia. And then, yeah, the Penn State Boise State game. I I probably should take Penn State to win, but I'm going to take Boise State to win. I you you know me, like Genty. I think the Boise State's defense is solid, and I think Penn State honestly may be caught looking for the next round after Boise State. So I think, and I also too think Penn State coming off that win against SMU, they're going to be maybe a little too relieved from the big win, and maybe have a little bit of a letdown game as well. So
I could see
so
that.
too think. And I also think Genty's going to run really hard and try to prove he should have won the Heisman. So
Which he should have, but
it could have gone either way.
mm, he's breaking Barry Sanders' record
But
that is held since the 80s. It's hard to argue,
I know.
but I'll hold off on that for now. So, top half of my bracket, which we both have different, I'll start with Texas going to play Arizona State. Scatterboo goes crazy, but I think the Texas defense is enough. And I think at this point, Arch Manning is enough. Him and Quinn Ewers both playing a good bit. Texas finds a way to win close, even though the line's probably going to be like
Yeah.
12 and a half. I think it's a 3-4 point game at the end. But I don't think Arizona State's got quite enough offense for Texas, so I think Texas pulls that one off. And then the rematch we all thought we were getting last week or 2 weeks ago in the Big Ten title game, Ohio State, Oregon. Ohio State gets their revenge. Will Howard gets him in the end zone on that last drive in a classic Buckeyes to the semifinals.
Okay. Yeah, so top of my bracket would be Clemson, Arizona State. I'm going to take the Sun Devils to win this one. Yeah, Scatterboo has a good game. Sam Levitt has a good game. Defense just, they do just enough to win. I do think it'll be very close. So, touchdown or less win. Um, but I think Kenny Dillingham really wants this one. He wants to get his Sun Devils on to the next round for sure. So, and then I would have Oregon Tennessee in our Rose Bowl game. Taking Oregon. I think Oregon has a better offense. I think they have the better defense, and Oregon's going to win this one.
Interesting. Okay, so that brings us to the national semifinals where we disagree on both these matchups. Do we have any teams that we agree on? I don't think we do.
So I've got Arizona State playing Oregon, and then Boise State playing Georgia.
I have Texas playing Ohio State and Penn State playing Notre Dame. So one of us is going to be way more right than the other one when we get to the semifinals. So that'll be fun. So in a game I honestly have wanted to see all year with how these teams have been playing, Penn State, Notre Dame, I think these are two teams that play very similar football and have been very even all year, just killing the teams that they should kill. Both, well, Notre Dame really hasn't played anyone up to this point in the season. Would have just been coming off of a huge win over Georgia. Penn State with the easiest stretch in the playoffs, as everyone keeps saying, with SMU and Boise. Makes it to the Orange Bowl, and Penn State cannot slow down that Notre Dame run game. Riley Leonard runs for like 3 touchdowns, both running backs. Love goes off for Notre Dame. And the Fighting Irish make the national championship game for the first time since I think it was 2011 versus Bama. 2011 or 2012. But in a shock, the Fighting Irish make the national championship game, and they play the winner of, for me, Texas or Ohio State. Ohio State has figured it out at this point. They're running the ball. This Ohio State and Texas is 2 of the top 5 defenses in the country. It's going to be first 1 to 20 if they even make it that far. And I think Ohio State's wide receivers are the difference in this game. Just they have too much talent on offense. I don't think Texas can do quite enough. And I have the Buckeyes going to the national championship game with a 7 and an 8 seed in the title game for me.
Okay. So I would have Boise State, Georgia. I think Georgia is going to curb stomp Boise State, and I think it'll probably be like a 35-14 type of game, I'd say. I think it'll be close for like quarter and a half to 2 quarters, and then Georgia's going to run away with it. There's too experienced for Boise State at this point.
So not as bad as TCU then?
I just think no, not as bad as TCU. No, there's no way. I think I think Boise State will be a much tougher opponent than TCU would be. And I just don't think Georgia has that same offensive firepower that they did when they played TCU either. So
Sure.
And then I'd have Oregon, Arizona State. I've got Oregon again. I think he just knows Lanning just knows Dillingham a little too well, and he'll have him figured out pretty quickly. And I think Oregon probably takes care of business decently fast in that game, probably by halftime. I bet they're up, right around 10 to 14 points at halftime, and then they just kind of run away with it the second half. And then I have the 1 and 2 seed going into my national championship game.
Boring.
I know it's boring.
It's probably going to be correct,
boring.
but
trust me.
Still
Trust me. If I could have had a national championship, it would be Boise State and Arizona State. But I just don't see that happening. But
oh yeah, gotta love that your semifinals has two Pac-12, two former Pac-12 teams and one future Pac-12 team in it, whereas the conference basically has no longer exists. So 1 year too early.
Yep.
Okay.
National title back.
Okay. We got the Fighting Irish coming off of wins over Georgia, Indiana, and Penn State versus the Buckeyes of the Ohio State University, coming off of wins over Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas. And I'm sticking with my preseason pick that I still think is the most talented roster and I think has a desperate coach. I think the Buckeyes win this one by double digits. I think they just get to this point. Ryan Day saves his job. And as all things have to be balanced, matches Michigan's national title 1 year later.
That'd be pretty cool. So, do you think Ryan Day loses his job if he doesn't win the Natty?
No, I do think if they end up losing at home to Tennessee, I think they would be a riot. I don't know if he would lose his job. I don't think he should. But growing up with a grandfather who's a Michigan fan, one game matters in those two states, and he's lost 4 straight now to Michigan. You just can't do that. If you're not winning national titles to make up for it, then you can't do that. So he almost got fired 2 years ago, and only reason that it calmed down a ton is he almost beat Georgia in the semifinals. So
Yep.
I think he'd probably be let go if they end up losing to Tennessee at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't be fired, but they may look somewhere else for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be your player of the game for this game?
It's probably would end up being Jonathan Smith. I think he would end up going off for 2 or 3 touchdowns in a game like this. So it'd either be him or Will Howard, depending. Probably the hype machine would get behind Smith.
Yeah, sure.
So
Okay, so you have Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon. We got Lanning going off against Smart. Lanning was his former DC at Georgia. I'm gonna keep this plain and simple. I think. Well, who do you think I'm gonna pick?
I think you want to pick Oregon. I think you pick Georgia, though.
I am picking the Ducks to win it
Okay.
all for the first time. I know that is a very, very boring pick because that is the majority of who people are picking to win. But I always had a soft spot in my heart for Oregon. I think Oregon finally gets to replace that O in the center of their field, the 1. They are up to 1 natty. They do not have to wear that O anymore. They get to rock the 1 for a while. Think that Dylan Gabriel's going to have himself a good game. I think it'll be a close game, but I do think Oregon sneaks away with the win. I just don't think Georgia has the offensive firepower to keep up with them.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with that. And I think a lot of that comes down to whether Carson Beck's back or not, because we really haven't gotten an update on him at all since the SEC title game. That's partially why I had Notre Dame beating him, because I don't think with the backup they'll be able to pull off getting to 20 points. I think their defense is amazing, but I think like with Notre Dame beating them, and if they would have beat that, I think Penn State would have beat him too if they could get past Notre Dame. I just without Carson Beck, I don't think that this Georgia offense has enough firepower to even just keep up with their defense. But
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
for sure.
in my other bracket I put together, I think the national champion comes from the Ohio State Oregon game that I have. I think one of those, whoever wins
Mhm.
that game, I think is whoever wins that game is who I would have winning it all because I think those are the two best teams,
Yeah, yeah,
especially with Carson Beck injured.
sure. Um, I think for your national championship, I would probably lean a little bit more towards Ohio State winning. I think it'll be really, really close, but I do think Ohio State would get the job done. Like if they're in that position, they want the natty really, really bad. I think they would take it. But
Yeah, these are the
um,
things we're going to learn though in this is can a team win 4 games versus opponents like this in a row? Is it going to have to be someone with a bye that has less wear and tear on them? It's going to be interesting to see how all this falls out with all that.
yeah, I agree. Um, so if someone came up to you and they were like, "You can't pick the team that you just picked to win," like if you had like a sleeper pick, who would you pick?
I think it'd be Penn State because I think with they do have the easier side of the bracket, and I think I think they can beat Notre Dame, even though I have Notre Dame beating them. I think they could definitely pull that game off. And I think if it's Georgia instead or Indiana, I think Penn State could pull that off. And I think I don't think most people think Penn State can win it all. So I think, I honestly think I have Notre Dame beating Penn State. I think Penn State has a better shot at winning a national title, though. So
Yeah. Yeah, I would also pick Penn State as my sleeper pick. I think the their Big Ten title game uh impressed me quite a bit. And I think if they can hang with Oregon, they can probably hang with anybody.
they had Ohio State beat if they could just put it in 4 tries from inside the 5 and just couldn't pull it off to at least get to overtime.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think another sleeper pick would be Texas. I think Texas could also do it too.
So I
But
guess that begs the question, how many teams do you think can win the national title? And who are they?
uh, um probably five.
I think there are 5.
Oregon,
Yep.
Notre Dame, State, Ohio State, Georgia. I'm gonna go six. Tennessee. Yeah, six.
I don't think Tennessee can. I have not seen enough from them that they can win 4 games straight versus these types of opponents. But I'd go with 5. I'd go with
Wait.
Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia. Notre Dame, maybe. I think they're good enough. I have them in my
Oh,
national championship game, but I don't know if they're good enough to win it.
so Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Georgia,
Texas.
Texas. Seven actually. Seven.
Okay.
I think seven could win.
So I have 5.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't know. Maybe
would
I'm a little too optimistic on Tennessee, but
there's a lot of people that say that. I don't see it. I think Nico's all hype still. I think he can be really good. I think he'll probably be a top 2, 3 round NFL draft pick, but I haven't seen it yet.
hmm
So, and I
yeah,
think
I don't know.
I don't think they can get past Ohio State and Oregon. Maybe they beat Ohio State in the shoe, but I don't think you can do
hmm
that and then turn around and beat Oregon. So
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
for sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I had them beating Ohio State, but I don't think they beat Oregon too. Yeah, I guess we'll find out here in a few days which of our brackets will be busted.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I got my bracket with completely all the favorites in the first round and then upsets galore afterwards. Whereas you
Yeah,
have two upsets in the first round and then a few upsets sprinkled in there, but then chalk in the championship. So it'll be interesting to see how that finishes out.
for sure. Yeah, oh, something else to add from my natty too would be I do think Georgia has a lot of motivation. Same with their name to be back out the top after Michigan winning last year. So
And just missing the playoffs in general.
yeah, that was big. So excited, super pumped. Um, yeah, just an announcement for those who may be listening. This will probably be our last episode for a little bit, just because we've the holidays coming up and just some different things that both of us have planned. But hopefully, could probably get something going, maybe a little like early January. Um, quite talked about when would be the next time that we'd be on. But yeah, probably around the January mark, early January. So
Yeah, I think we can get I think we'll get one on before the semifinals, which are the 9th and 10th. So I'd probably look for one
mhm.
before then. But probably
Yep,
probably not
makes
one
sense.
for the rest of the year though. So everyone can just sit back, enjoy the bowl games, enjoy the playoffs, and then we'll be
Yep,
back on your feed to start the new year.
absolutely. So, Beck, anything to add before we close up?
No, don't think so. Just GBR.
Yes, sir. DBR, and hope people who are listening just have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see you guys very, very soon.